Hi all, Trish Everett from Weave here, and this week we're looking at feedback that can be heard, like really heard by the person you're giving the feedback to, be a mechanism for building trust, building rapport, building connection, problem solving, getting creative, all of those things, rather than being something that we dread giving, we dread receiving. We don't want it to be like that. We want that feedback to be a mechanism for growth and for connection. So the first thing is, when we're going in to give that beautiful feedback, is we want to be looking at the whole picture. So we want to zoom out for a moment and look at what it is that feedback enables in the big picture of what you're trying to get done. And this can be like the really huge, big, massive picture of what your organization is about, what they're trying to get done. It can be on that level, or it can be on the big picture of, well, what is that task in terms of the whole of the project that's being worked on. The next thing is we want to really embed the vision. So if you're both on the same page of what the vision is, what you're trying to make happen, why you're there, why you're creating these amazing things, why you're working towards something, it's great to bring that into your feedback. And it can be one sentence, it can be just a touch point. So we've got the big picture and we've got embedding the vision. The next thing is to set the feedback up first so you can listen. Quite often when we go in to give feedback, we feel that we need to tell somebody what we see them doing. And while that's definitely part of it, it's actually about having a conversation about what's happening. So it's great to start by asking questions. A lot of the time, if something isn't working, or if something is working, it's really great to hear how the person you're giving feedback to sees that. So asking questions like, how do you think it's going? What do you see as working? What do you see as being challenging? Where do you see the problems are? What are your ideas for solutions for this? And coming at it from a place of curiosity rather than coming in saying, all right, I see this going on and I see that happening and this needs to be changed. Because a lot of the time, that's not a very empowering place for the person you're speaking to. If you can come together to get that big picture view of it all, it builds that connection, it builds that trust, it builds that self-efficacy, which is what you're really looking for, builds engagement. Also, remember to look at what is working as well as what is not working. And we're not talking about a feedback sandwich where we're sugarcoating on either side the problem. We're actually wanting to look at, wow, this is really working. This part's amazing. You're giving feedback on both what is working and what isn't working. The next part that's really important is that we want this to be completely blame-free. We don't want to be talking in terms of failures, in terms of fault, any of that sort of thing. We want to be talking in terms of learning and growth and working together. We want to be working with it on that level. So instead of placing blame or fault or any of that sort of thing, and if that starts to come up, we want to be saying things like, oh, we're not looking at whose fault it is. We want to look at how we can make it better. Now, the next part is with the growth mindset. We've touched on that briefly, in that everything we're doing in this feedback is we're wanting to learn how we can grow as a team, how people can grow as individuals, how the task can grow and improve. So we're wanting to look at it from that mindset, not from a mindset of mistakes, of failures, of this is right, this is wrong. We're not looking at that. What we're looking at is, how do we grow? How do we learn from this? How do we evolve from this? How do we keep improving? How do we keep on getting stronger in this? And the last part with the giving this kind of feedback is that there is no room for buts. If you notice yourself saying buts, change it to an and. And yes, but we want to avoid that. Anything with a but, it cuts out what's been said before. So we want to make sure that we're using and. That's really great. And even if it's going on to something that isn't so great, that's really great. And what's happening with this bit is very different to, that's really great, but what's happening with this bit? All of a sudden you've chopped out that's really great. That isn't going to be heard anymore. And it's our human nature to kind of look at what's not working. So even with an and, it's going to override it. That's got really great with, with that looking at what's not working. So we want to make sure we reduce that by using and rather than but. Have a great week practicing this feedback, and practice it, even if it's about really little things. Have a go. See which parts of this work, see which parts of it you don't need to use all the time, see which parts of it, oh wow, that makes a really big difference. And play with it. And play with it together, and play with it in let's practice doing our feedback together. It's really, really great. If you can get this happening really well, your connection and your ability to support each other is going to increase exponentially.